on, Chicago. Make some noise. Put your hands together. MAPC. You know whether I'm right. You know, Lord, whether I'm wrong. Yeah, you know whether I'm right or wrong. Yeah, yeah. You know whether I'm right. You know, Lord, whether I'm wrong. Yeah, you know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not here.
Hey,
Good evening,
everybody.
ladies and gentlemen, Christians and friends. We thank and praise God for this another glorious privilege to come into your homes while you're riding along in your automobiles, your various places of business, every hospital ward, even the boys and girls behind prison walls, to bring you Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, the gospel show emanating live and direct through the studios of WVTC, where we are two-time Stellar Award winning. We trust and pray that this time with Jesus would give you strength to go forward in faith. Listen. It's a great night tonight. I've got my partner back with me, Dr. B.
Woo! Hey there, hey everybody. Is there a doctor in the house? Well, yes, there is. I am she is me, and me is her. How you doing this evening?
Listen, I'm so glad to have you back. You were missed last week, Dr. B. I know you were on a ministry assignment.
I
And
was.
you weren't able to be with us on last week.
I
How's
tried.
everything going?
Everything is good. We're having some technical difficulties with my air, but to God be the glory. I don't let nothing stop me. I'm going.
Lord, we praying that a fresh wind would come, Lord God,
Fresh
because
wind.
with this triple digit, but you know what? Listen, in not many days hence, this will all be over.
It's gonna all be all right.
Y'all know what I'm saying. I see so many of you guys out there. Listen,
Hey, daughter.
it's a great night. It's a great night here with
Yes.
Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith. And I'm really excited about everything that's going to happen tonight. God bless you, Kimberly Jones Whitehead. I see you, Pastor Marsh, out there on the West Coast. Listen, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Is that right, Dr. B?
That is right. So tell everybody we're on, and we have a great show, great talk, great conversation.
Listen, tonight we normally talk about music, we interview artists, a variety of people, but tonight we're getting ready to come to our own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we got some things to talk about tonight in our own backyard, and I wanted to address some of the things that were going on in the community with the young people.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. B, I'm sure you're aware of some of the disturbances we've had. And
yes.
I wanted to bring some mighty men of God and women that are part of the community of faith, because I believe the community of faith is doing some things we all don't know about and we need to hear about. But I wanted to start right at home, where I serve on Sundays. Every Sunday, you can find me with Dr. Robert C. Jones at Mount Carmel Baptist Church. Woo! And the Associate Minister, Reverend Brandon Ferguson of Mount Carmel Baptist Church. And one of the owners of WVTC.
There it is.
Pastor Bishop William Quincy of Mount Calvary Church is in the building. I'm so glad to have all these auspicious men of God here. Pastor Jones, say hello to everybody.
Well, hello, everyone. It's just an honor and a privilege to be here tonight.
Reverend Ferguson.
Good evening, everyone. It's such an honor to be here.
Bishop James.
God bless you, man. So glad to be with you tonight. You and Dr. B. Bless you.
Listen, we've got something going on here, right? We wanted to talk about the recent activities of our young people that were not so pleasant. Took place back in June, and then a couple of weeks ago, some things happened where our young people were being disruptive and and did some things to a couple of gas stations, and just not being what we need to be and represented in the way we should be. I see First Lady Creola Jones. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday. We
Oh,
celebrated
wow.
you on
Happy
Sunday.
birthday.
If there ever was a wonderful First Lady, she is the epitome of it every Sunday, looking good. She wore that hat, and we want to celebrate you, First Lady Creola Jones. God bless you. Listen, our young people, let's talk about it. Bird,
Hey,
what's going on?
Bird.
What's going on? What's going on? So I want to play this, and then we're going to talk about this on the other side. I might not. I hope that we don't get flagged for it, but we're going to see what is going to happen here. Listen to this.
I'm Tia Ewing. The Chicago Police Department is using new tactics to fight the teen trends that have been taking place all across the city. Now they're making arrests and making sure that those teens are charged. 40 people were arrested last night, most of them juveniles, some as young as 12 years old, hit with reckless misconduct charges. A 15-year-old was arrested for having a gun with a laser and a silencer on it, and a 17-year-old was arrested for having a machine gun. This 7-Eleven behind me was looted, turned completely upside down. And you're looking at that video showing the teens taking items from inside the 7-Eleven and throwing it around the parking lot. An estimated 300 to 400 teens showed up for this teen trend in the South Loop. There were fights and then there was looting. This all started after 8.
Pastor Jones, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I think it's important for us to understand you got a number of things going on with our young people. And, at the end of the day, it becomes important for us to understand that there has to be things for them to do. My experience has taught me that having been a young person myself, that if there are no things to do, you will make up things to do. And unfortunately, the things that are being made up turn into the violence and the corruption that we're seeing within our community. It is an unfortunate reality, but it is something that I feel with all my heart is something that can be dealt with within our community amongst ourselves. And I think it's about time that we actually come together to deal with these things instead of looking at them and speaking about them separately.
Okay. Reverend Ferguson, with me. What are you thinking? What do you feel about what you just saw?
Where are the parents? Where are the parents? I mean, listening to the video clip, she mentioned the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old. Like, why are these young children outside not being supervised? Why aren't they, getting themselves prepared to go to school or some type of summer camp or youth activity to keep them occupied? Where are our parents? What happened to our village?
Bishop James.
Yeah, I agree with the sentiments of Reverend Ferguson. We have to ask, where's mom? Where's dad? And even in this situation, and we've seen so far, even in life, where's grandma? Big mama's gone. There were certain things you couldn't do coming up. I know I couldn't. Even going to grandma's house in the summertime. But as Dr. Jones said, we had all type of activities that we were opened up to keep our minds engaged. My grandmother, even though I would go spend the summer with her and I ride my bike in her block and hang with my cousins, she still sent us to vacation Bible school at the church on the end of the block. And we had a certain time that we could come on the porch, a certain amount of pieces of candy we could eat a day. There were rules set in place. And so I think we've gotten away from that. And thus and so, since we've gotten away from this, is what we have now. The product of the youth are just out of control.
Dr. B?
I think it's just utterly ridiculous the way the children are acting these days. Back in the day, in the 70s, when I was coming up, in the 80s, when I was in school, in the 90s, even in college, there was a thing called discipline. And if you did not abide by the rules, then you were in trouble, not just by your parents, but everyone in the neighborhood, because it did take a village. Where are the villages in these days and times? Who's looking after these kids? Who's guiding them? Better yet, who's protecting these children? What's going on in their minds? Who do they get to talk to? Who do they fall back on when they have questions? What's really underneath and underlying in the minds of these children? How can we help them so that these instances that's happening can stop happening? And my favorite phrase is make it make sense.
Everybody had a relevant response to this. I'll chip in. I know we said where are the parents, where's the village, and all of that, and they need to have something to do. So I said to someone earlier that I'm not going to be the devil's advocate, but I'm going to be an advocate in some way. My concern is as it relates to them having something to do. And I saw some comments out there. We had chores. Someone was saying Deacon Myron, he had chores. He played sports. He was active in the neighborhood. Everybody has something to do in the former generations. Back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My generation, I'm a child of the 60s. We didn't have a $500 to $1,000 phone in our pocket.
No.
Or access to social media because there was none. We didn't have $300 gym shoes. This is what they have, and they don't have anything to do. They've got social media right here at the tip of their fingers. They're on the phone. I'm playing the advocate now, and I want to see what we have to say. Elder Hunt said, "That's right. Everybody got a piece of it, right?" Yep. So God bless you, Walter Howard.
You know what,
We
brother?
didn't have that.
You know what, brother, and you're absolutely right. But to also deal with the fact of where's Big Mama, where's Mama, where's Dad, okay, or older brother, things of that sort, and notwithstanding those that are in a bad way, but sometimes Big Mama is getting ready to go on that second shift of that job that she has because the first job doesn't pay enough for them to even make the ends meet, or she's sleeping to get ready for that job that's getting ready to come up, and she's so tired she can't even monitor what's going on with her own children. Now that's notwithstanding with some of the parents that are not doing what they're supposed to do. I get that, and I understand that. And also there is the trap that Brother Ramon made so quite clear, in that many in our culture has been so determined to make sure our children have what we didn't have that we've gone too far with it, and we've given them too much, trying to make sure that they have it better than we had it, and that becomes an unfortunate reality when it comes to what's going on with our young people as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bishop
And I
James?
think that's something we look at it now, even in our society. I mean, let's look at it. Big Mama's what, 65 now? Well, and that's great grandmama. Grandmama 50 and Mama 32. So, that mother wit that our grandparents, I know when my grandparents being from the South, from Canton, Mississippi, and my grandfather from Tupelo, Mississippi, and they raised us like they were raised. I tell people all the time, I get reprimanded so many times from several of my colleagues now because I address them with yes, sir, no, sir, yes,
Yes.
ma'am, no, because that's how I was raised.
Mhm.
And so I feel that's what is missing from our homes and from our upbringings with our young people.
Mhm.
I think that's interesting. You mentioned some numbers, Pastor, and I felt compelled to give an upgrade on some of those numbers that you made mention of.
Yes.
I think that Mama today is 17 years old. I think that Grandmama is 35 years old, and Big Mama is 50 years old. And I think therein lies a part of the problem as well.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no
Yes, sir.
experience. There's no experience in rearing as many of us were fortunate enough to have.
Yeah. And with that rearing, that comes responsibility because If my grandmama didn't give me, Miss Carrie across the street got me.
That's right.
Miss Sangerman got me next door. They didn't have to have my last name. They didn't have to have my bloodline. But whoever was around and saw you doing bad, they could get you. That's the community I come from.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And Dr. B mentioned the village. We were too scared Miss Jones 2 doors over was going to see us doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And the first thing she was going to say, now, Miss Perry didn't allow that. Now, you know that. Come here.
Mm-hmm.
And before we could get home, she had already called down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Or God forbid the teacher even say they was going to call your house. Fear and trembling, right?
Yes.
That was
Yes.
coming. Now, my mama going to cuss you out. First of all, they going to fight the teacher.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
They'll fight the teacher. They'll fight the police. And mama come down the street and cuss Miss Jones out.
Come on.
Oh,
This ain't none of your.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
all of that.
We don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
And it's a reality. I wish it was different, but this generation doesn't know about that kind of upbringing, right?
And they don't know. And it's sad to say that we've gotten away from a lot of things that was instilled in us coming up. And I have to say us, because I'm 52. So when I was coming up, my grandma had me in the kitchen teaching me how to pick greens and clean chitlins, and how to preserve things. That's what I was learning. And when I was like, Grandma, this ain't, I'm done. So she taught me how to sew. She taught me how to crochet and knit. So now you can't beat me, doing these things. But then on the block, we had a book club, a bike club. We had seminars, to where we had to go. And it was a bi-weekly thing. It wasn't weekly, but we had the Better Boys Foundation. We had the Off the Street Club. We had things to do. We were excited to go to school. What's going on now? Why is school not so? Well, I'm a nerd.com. So, let's just keep it real. But school was exciting. What's going on in school today that the kids just don't want to go? Even the teenagers in high school, how can we make it more impactful? More for them to come.
Absolutely. Let me just read a couple of comments. Brother Al Williams said it's hard when grandma is 30 and mama is 17.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Deacon Myron Brand said, I played sports in the neighborhood. James Williams, these children need to be doing some chores. Denny Yancey said, there are things for the youth to do. There is not one youth organization that has a wait list. That's huge. Reverend Antonio Hunt, he said back then it was no question. Mama said no was no. No fear of the parents, no fear of God. Michael Peters out of Cincinnati. I was picking up veggies in the garden in the country and going to church and doing chores when I was young, cutting grass, working summer jobs, and working regular jobs. Oh my God, I've got Pastor Antoine Functions has made it back with us. We're so glad to have him. Freeport, Illinois, St. Paul Baptist Church.
Hey, I made it.
You came in on a good end. Say hello to everybody, Reverend Funches.
Hello, everybody.
Blessings to you.
So glad to have you. Just reading a few comments. I see my brother Russell Carroll out there on the East Coast in the Baltimore, D.C. area. Just want to acknowledge some of the people that are saying some things. Thank you for being out there. Please like and share this live tonight. Pastor Funches, we are talking about some of the issues in the community that we're having with our young people. And I want to play another clip, and then I'm going to have you speak, Pastor Funches, and we're going to bring a young lady on that's from this generation pretty much. But I want to play this other clip first, and we're going to talk to Pastor Funches. Let's look at this.
I'm Tia Ewing, the Chicago Police.
We're following this here at 4:30. Another teen takeover last night, this time in Bronzeville.
Hundreds of teenagers converged at a gas station at 31st and Michigan, looting the store and breaking windows. WGN's Julian Cruz joins us now with more. Julian?
Well, Ben and Lourdes, fortunately, nobody killed or seriously injured in the rampage, which happened about 9:30 last night, with hundreds of teens and young people creating what local residents describe as mischief and mayhem.
That was really horrible. They had ransacked the store.
Vanessa Boyd and other Bronzeville residents describing the tumultuous scene last night at 31st and Michigan.
There was a whole bunch of kids out here, and they was all in the gas station. They were causing a mess.
I know as teenagers we made mistakes, but we have never done anything like this.
Hundreds of young people, according to witnesses, migrating from a lakefront gathering to 31st and Michigan.
Throwing trash everywhere.
The crowd blocking traffic and in a few instances even climbing up on startled.
I think we get the point, right?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Pastor Funches, what can you speak to what you just saw? I think we get the point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Pastor Funches, what can you speak to what you just saw?
Give me one second, because I'm getting an echo from. Yeah.
Somebody, let's everyone mute.
Yeah,
You turn your phone, turn your phones down. We've got somebody got to have their phone up. We're getting an echo.
That's
Make sure your devices are turned down so we don't get the echo. Okay.
That was me. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Pastor Funches, share with us tonight, please.
I think that they're looking for an outlet. I mean, let's be realistic about this. When I'm knocking on 50 years old now, and we had things within our community that we can go and do. We had outlets that we can go and participate in. But the youth nowadays, they have different outlet. They're looking for something to do. And let's be realistic. Their outreach, their media outreach is a lot different than what we had. We met. I mean, I had the telephone. I had the kitchen cord. You know, it stretched. That was as far as it went. We had the two telephone, the switch. You had the little knob that you switched on the telephone. That was as much as that was call waiting for us. But this group nowadays, they have social media. They can plan things. They have Snap. Hey, let's meet down at so and so. This is what we're going to do, and they can get down there within a matter of minutes. They know how to take public transportation, and they get down there and they deem it as being fun. It's cool. It's this is what we did. We're turning up, but they don't realize the ramifications that it's leading to. And I think they don't realize the ramifications because they don't understand the consequences, or they don't really care for the consequences at their age level.
The consequences. So there are consequences here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. The consequences now are a little bit different, Pastor Funches. I'm sure you were hadn't come on yet when we were talking about the consequences started before Mama found out, because Miss Jones 2 doors over gave us consequences. Then we got the rest of it when we got home. James Williams says children and their parents need to be held responsible. I want to bring on a young lady. Her name is Amani Crockett. She's part of our staff here at WVTC. Amani, say hello to everybody. You're muted. There you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Amani.
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted you to come on. She is a few years younger than me, and I love that smile, Amani. And she's from this generation. So, Amani, can you just give us a little insight on what you're hearing and what you're feeling among the young people?
Well, I've been seeing that people looting and stealing from the stores, shooting, not in school or skipping school, doing what they want to do. Parents not watching what they do or where they're going and what they're doing and who they're hanging out with. And some parents are young; they not mature enough, or they act like their kids are their friends and they're not friends. Because I grew up, when I was growing up, I have a praying mom, so she tells me, like, to pray with everything I do and to be careful, not standing out too late and not doing what the other people are doing outside, and not to copy what other kids are doing, and not be a follower, but be a leader. And always, I just see, I watch every time I watch news, I see what's going on, and it's just sad. And yeah, that's why I don't like staying out that late, because of what's going on right now. And my mother always tell me to always stay prayed up when I leave out the house, and to be safe, and not
Absolutely.
to stay out too late, and to come home exactly on time.
Well, when she said she had she had me when she said she had a praying grandmother.
Grandmother.
Now that I was already bought and sold on that. We've talked about the problem. God bless you, Reverend Franklin Morris, the CEO of WVTC, and God bless you and God keep you. God is able. He's right now able, and he's doing a great thing right there in your life. Thank you for sharing with us, Reverend Franklin Morris. He's the reason that I sit behind the sacred desk tonight. Let's talk about the solutions, Pastor Jones. We talked about the problem. What is the community of faith doing, and what more can be done? Let's start with Pastor Jones. What can we do? What are the solutions?
Well, sure. There's a couple of things that becomes important for us to do. First of all, it becomes important for us to recognize that there are members of the faith community that are doing something. There are some things that are being done within the community. Sometimes they may not get as much publicity as they should, and maybe we should even network and share more. There are martial arts programs that can teach children discipline, and work with the parents as well. There are fathers and family and healthy community programs that exist that can teach parenting skills to the younger parents. And these are things that are going on in the faith community, not just tutoring, but there are things that are activities and actions. I think that there needs to be when we're talking about village, we're talking about relationships. The reason why Miss Smith Miss Jones could tell Miss Smith and Miss Perry could tell Miss Johnson is because they knew each other. Okay. and they had relationship, and the village had relationships. And so we've got to redevelop the relationships within our communities. And I think our politicians can help do this. We have a lot of community events that our alderpersons have the monies to sponsor, and they do those things for young people, and that's good. But I think they need to do some for the parents, and bring the parents together and get the parents to get to knowing each other. And because many times the people in the communities don't know each other, and so everyone's a stranger. So you can't have a village if you're not together.
That was huge, and I agree with every point you made, Pastor Jones. Reverend Ferguson. Solutions.
Like Pastor John said, there are plenty of organizations out there that offer programs for our youth, and the solution would be getting our children, putting down the tablets, putting down the phones, and actually getting them back active in those programs where there's structure and there's discipline and there's something for them to do in an organized manner. That's the solution.
Absolutely, in an organized manner. Pastor Funches?
I've thought about this. I have a unique experience. I've lived in Chicago majority of my life, and now I live in an area just outside Rockford. My unique experience says to me, what Dr. Jones says is absolutely correct. We do need to get the parents involved in community. But my unique experience says I live in a small rural town where everyone is related to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we still face, on a smaller level, yet a similar level, everything that the major city like Chicago is facing. And they're doing it to their own relatives. it's relatives killing relatives, it's cousins killing cousins. Because it's such a small town, everyone is related.
Mm.
And so it's a unique experience where everyone, it's like, if you remember the TV show Cheers, where you walk in the bar, everybody knows your name.
Everybody knows your name.
That's how it is in this community. And so it's a unique experience. And I agree, that type of program could work in the city of Chicago. But when you think in terms of places like here, one of the things that I realize is that there are a lot of community events already, like here. There are the church picnics where everybody rotates to. There are the different community fairs. There are the different uh, uh, street fairs that they come to, the wine fest,
Mm-hmm.
the different things, just like what would be the Taste of Chicago. We have
Right.
those different events here where people will come out, the vendors and things of that nature. The challenge, I think, is not so much as getting people to come out to those events, because they'll come out to those events, participate in those events, and socialize. But when they leave, they still won't know each other.
Okay.
I think the challenge is getting them to get to know one another on a regular basis, outside uh, of of just those events. It's developing a trust in your neighbor and in your neighborhood. That's the difference. We don't have a belief structure in one another anymore. If you think about it, if everything you see on social media is watch your back with your family, watch your back with your friends. It's cutoff season, it's discharge season, it's this season, it's that season. And by the time you look at it, everybody's cut off and you're in the season by yourself. So if you're in the season
Absolutely.
by yourself, who can you then how can you develop, and how can you help strengthen one another?
You know, you said something, key piece, and we're going to go to the rest of our panel. We're not familiar with each other. I think that makes a big difference too. And I didn't think about that as part of the equation. Dr. B,
Yes.
solutions.
Solutions. Just sit down, have conversations with your youth. Ask them about themselves. Ask them how their day was. I have a 9-year-old granddaughter here with me. And Trinity, how are you today? What are you going to do today? Do you have a goal to set today? And these are the things that I talk to my children about when I was bringing them up. Have a conversation with them. A conversation means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bishop James, solutions.
Still muted.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're muted.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
My,
yes, yes.
my response is really loaded. I don't even think we have enough time, because
Come on with it. Bring it.
it's broad. Because um, first of all, I remember that movie, The Field of Dreams, where they say if you build it, they'll come. Sometimes in our community, that is not always the case. My church, where I serve as pastor, we have one of the largest summer camps in the city of Chicago, and it's free. Doesn't cost you a dime to bring your child there as a safe haven for the summertime. But you still have a lot of parents who will not bring their child to summer camp. We have tutors that come there to serve, to get them prepared for when the school year starts back. Whatever your subject is you're having problems in with reading and math. We have people on deck that can help you to get that. But I think one of the components we're missing it, and I had this conversation with some colleagues of mine that's connected in our communities we've been trying to work on, is we need, it's not going to work until we get the parents involved. We need to have programming and resources for the parents. I mean, the baby don't have any a chance if mama and daddy ain't together. And when I mean together, if they don't have the skills they need, we need to have resume writing and how to uh, nail an interview. How to properly dress. I mean, I'm a manager at my job, and I have interviewed people that come in here with jeans on, and they come in here with I don't know what these shoes Reverend Ferguson, maybe you can help me. What's these shoes called that Kanye has? They come into the interview with those Yeezys on, and you know, and I was like,
and Crocs.
Crocs, and you're looking for a job. So I think we need to target the parents to give some resources in the communities and the neighborhoods for them to get them together. And I think then that's how we can target the kids. As it relates to another solution is, and I don't know if I can use, say, I work for 2 other companies besides my other 900 jobs I have. That we I have a check-in process that we use with our youth. We have one-on-one encounters. We do group sessions with them. And so what I do is in my group sessions, I check in with my boys. We do something called PIES, PIES. And we check in with them and say, how are you physically? How are you intellectually? How are you emotionally today? How are you spiritually? And you would be surprised what comes up out of that check-in. Sometimes you'll find out that they're really not all right. And watch this. If it doesn't open up in the group, they'll have a one-on-one encounter, because when the group is over, they might have been embarrassed to say it. They'll come back in the room and say, you know what, Dr. J, I ain't want to say it in the group, but today's not a good day, man. I left home, mom been riding down on me. I gotta be the big brother and the daddy in the family because this is going on. You'd be surprised. So we need to check in, I think, more, you know, for solutions with our parents and with our youth. And I think that's how we're going to get back into the swing of things and come with a solution to get the whole family involved.
Wow, that was loaded. And I couldn't disagree with one thing you said. Lakia Jones said, unfortunately, there are parents who just don't have time for their children, not making them the priority when they should be.
That's right.
James Williams said, it used to be a lot more mental health facilities in our communities.
True.
We need to bring those back.
We do.
Yes, it's a lot going on to unpack what's going on.
Ramon, could I chime in for a second?
Yes, please.
Listen, based on what Pastor Williams, Bishop Williams said just a few seconds, James just said a few seconds ago, he mentioned about his program that's one of the largest in the city of Chicago. Now, I did not know that, okay? And so that puts me at a disadvantage with some young people that I could have. I think that we can also use as a solution social media to help us connect with one another. I mean, when people are looking for a carpet cleaner, they'll go on social media and say, anybody know a good carpet cleaner?
Yeah.
Say, anybody know I can get this for a good price? I think we need to go on and say, listen, we have some parents that need some job skills, because there are places that have job skills. There are places that there are within the faith community and the surrounding communities. And if we did that, reaching out to one another and connecting with one another, we could help each other and deal and do those issues that deal with not only our young people but with the parents as well.
But you know what? And if I could piggyback with that, I agree with you, Dr. Jones. Here comes the problem. Now you didn't dug up something real heavy, because here comes the problem with us. When I say us, I'm talking about pastors.
Tell the truth.
And I know Pastor Funches can relate to this, because everybody has this section. It's me, my, and I. You know, we got it. So figure out how to get it on your own. And so we don't want to connect. Because we feel like it's going to take away from some of us. I think as faith-based leaders, we need to get together, and then we need to hold these aldermen accountable.
That's right.
Let's hold these politicians accountable for these parks and for the abandoned buildings in our community that we've been asking to get torn down, and they won't work on that when we have camps. We need to hold them accountable and call them to the carpet, because it's going to, I think Dr. B said it's going to take a village for us to get this done. We can't do it by ourselves.
Absolutely.
Can I interject as well?
Yes.
I see a couple things. I think there's a couple things when it comes down to our faith community. I think we have there's a mistrust of people as it relates to the faith community. The faith community is critical of people, and people are critical of the faith community. People become critical of the faith community because we're critical of them. Why don't you know this? You should do this. You should do that. And then they say, well, you ain't this, you ain't that. And it goes back and forth. And then what ends up happening is there's a wall that's developed. And then we say, well, I'm not helping you. And then they say, you should help us. And so I think that that's one issue. And I think we need to be able and be able to say, okay, that's not what we're about. Jesus helped the people and he fought with the religious cult. And so we need to deal with that issue, number one. And then I think to piggyback on Dr. Jones and Pastor James, Bishop James, I think the other part of that is I think we're too busy trying to run out and find employment, and people are paying us pennies for our time. We tell our kids that they're valuable, but yet they go out here and then they sell themselves cheap. Let's take the Black church, for instance. We tell our young men and our young women to go out and attain a doctorate degree, but then when they come down to it, we don't want to pay them what their doctorate degree is worth. We'll go out there and we'll say, we want us as pastor to have a doctorate degree, but only want to pay him $15,000 a year. And then get mad when he says, well, I don't want to take that because my family is worth more.
You in the room tonight?
Yeah, you definitely all the way in the room. You ran up and down a couple of our.
We have a standard and a requirement, but then we don't want to fulfill the standard and the requirement as it relates to ourselves. So let's be realistic about this. I think we need to start looking internally. I think if we're going to help ourselves, let's start thinking, okay, let's teach our young people about their value and their worth. If we're going to say, we want you to go to school, get an education, let's not go out there and sell yourself for a $15 an hour job. That's great when you're for right now, because here's what's happening. They'll raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, but then they'll turn around and raise everything else to take that $15 an hour away. We'll raise the gas tax. We'll raise this tax. We'll raise that tax. Inflation all of a sudden happens, and then now that $15 an hour is equivalent to $7 an hour. So let's be realistic about it. Let's say, okay, let's go back and teach our young people entrepreneurship and develop our own strategies, and then say, let's develop the wealth in our own community and teach our own community their own value. So then when it comes down to it, we're borrowing from ourselves. I saw someplace, I read it someplace, I can't quite remember where I read it, that the average dollar stays within the African American community less than 6 hours, but the dollar stays within the white community an average of 42 days.
Wow, that's huge right there. Everybody is bringing so much to the table. I want everybody that's listening. I want to go to Amani in just a moment. And Demetra had a great comment, and I can't get it back up. She said this is about relationships first, but she said something else, and I can't get it. I wish she would repost it. Amani, what do you think can be done to help young people to gear them away from this kind of behavior? What idea would you suggest, or what do you think could be part of the solution?
Well, I think they need to go to a community center and do something better with themselves instead of being outside doing what they're not supposed to be doing, or being inside the house at an early time and doing something productive with their life instead of doing doing looting and stealing and killing people, and just some positive music. They have any problems with music, they can write music and put it in their songs, and because that's what I do with my music. I make music. I make my own music, and I go through stuff, and I don't be outside doing what they are doing. I put it inside my music, and um, I put inside my music what I'm going through and everything, and I try to be a positive role model to other young people and help them with problems with the same thing. Like maybe
That
if
you're
they deal
going
with
through.
as me, then they can relate to it pretty much.
And you said something real positive there about you express it through your music. Hopefully, they will, when they get involved in other things, they'll find the other things that they can do as an outlet. But we got to get them there first. Thank you, Bird. She just sent me this a screenshot of what Demetra Pitts said. Demetra Pitts said there is a lack of trust in our communities. In most cases, the faith community is not seen or available until Sunday mornings. Yes, it starts with the parents, but those are the ones that have already had bad experiences with the faith community. We need to start from the foundation without a judgmental attitude towards the attire. Jesus never mentioned what someone had on. Gain their trust first. Open your doors on a regular and consistent basis. And that speaks to something that someone else mentioned about we're hard on them coming out the gate in the church.
If I could speak to that,
Go ahead.
I agree with my sister. Um, One thing about it, we don't change the message. Let's look at that. We can't change the message, but we can change the method. Because what we reach Big Mama and Grandmama with, we're not gonna reach this generation with. We just gotta be right up front with it. It's the same message, but we gotta package it up a little different on how we give it to them. And I think sometimes with young people, we're hard. Sometimes we're trying to beat the word over them or push it in their face, give it to them like this. And I heard somebody say it a long time ago. A lot of us talk Bible, we can't speak English. I believe it's Mark chapter 12. Y'all help me, pastors, where it said the common man heard Jesus gladly. They were glad to hear him because he wasn't talking up here to them. He was coming to them directly. And so I think that we don't change the message, but we got to change the method of how we reach it and give it to them. In the school I'm in, and I can't call the name. When I came there to be a counselor for the youth, they had my group session room in the detention room. I said, well, I don't want to be in this room because this is the room where they're being reprimanded in. I need to move. And so they said, well, where you want to move to? I said, well, first of all, next door to my office, there's the college prep room. They have banners and flags with every university and HBCUs. Let's take them and have group session in that room so we can show them something different and present something different to them. So I think as the faith-based community, we got to not change the message. We got to find a different method to draw them and to get them in. And now what that method is, I don't have the patent on. This is what we're trying to figure out tonight.
I think if I may, I think it becomes important based on what the bishop just said, that we also realize what we're up against. There are forces and voices that want our young people to do what they're doing, that want to destroy our young people, do not want to build them up. And all of those forces and voices aren't bad parents. Okay. Some of it are bad policies that have been put in place. Now, I know that may be another conversation for another show, but I believe it becomes important for us that we face what we're up against, because what we're up against is larger, okay? And it calls on us to use every part of who we are to address it if we're going to be the village that we used to be. Yeah, that's all I want to say there.
Dr. B, what he just said.
Can I comment real quick?
Go ahead.
Let me say this. I was watching Dr. Carter, Matt King Carter, and he said something that struck with me, and I want to share it with you guys. He said, and I want to say, he was talking to a bunch of preachers and pastors, and I want to say it here because I think it's relevant here. We're dealing with the issue of sin. We're dealing with the issue of people. And Demetra said she was never talking about changing the message. She was talking about being more human as it relates to it. And I agree with that. Here's the deal. We don't change the message. I agree. The reality of it is most people who are within the church try to live a life that is not like what they preach. You cannot outlive or outpreach your life. And most of us try to outpreach our lives. We try to live above what our life is. And you can't do that. If you want forgiveness, show forgiveness. And I think most of the people that we can touch, if we just be what we're supposed to be, then we can gain. The Bible says, and if I be lifted up, we don't have to change the message. The message is the same. If we just do what he tells us to do, that's the problem. We're trying to find too many ways, and all he said was lift him up. Period, point blank. How we lift him up, hey, that's the issue.
That's the issue.
The
And I
thing
think,
about it is, if
yep,
we just do what he say, live a life that's pleasing to him, then that's the lift up moment. I think that's who we need to be. I think if we can do that, then that's the shifting. Now, if we're going to win our young people, I have a 27-year-old, I got a 25-year-old, I got a 22-year-old. Pray for me, y'all. I got an 18-year-old and I got a 14-year-old. Let me tell you, and I don't like none of them sometimes. Because all of them turn my head gray. So and here's the reality of it. Each one of them are facing their own challenges in each section of their lives. And so the reality of it is they're facing things that we've never faced before. Even in my age, they're facing things and challenges that we've never faced before. My 27-year-old have said to me, Dad, you don't deal with my youngest son, the 14-year-old, the way you dealt with me. No, I can't, because he doesn't face things the things that you face. That's a totally different situation. And so I have to deal with him totally different. And I've gained the wisdom now to know that my approach with him is different. And I've learned to communicate with him differently. And because I've done that, the relationship is different. The difference is I'm available for him to communicate with. A lot of homes, they don't have that availability to them because a lot of families, a lot of parents are working to provide, but they can't provide what the kids need because they're trying to provide what the kids need.
I get it. I get it. Dr. B, you was getting ready to say something. Can you go ahead? And I want to read a few comments. Dr. B?
Yes, I was going to read a comment actually from David Andrew Moses that says parents also need to address their own generational traumas first. If they don't, then they project that one on their kids and scare them mentally. The toxic cycle, it just continues. And I am in agreement with that. If you don't first address what's going on inwardly with you, then outwardly it will project. And my thing is that don't let the atmosphere of how you treat your children set you. You set the atmosphere. If you have a positive mental attitude, then you will have a happy and terrific day. I tell people that I'm happy, healthy, and terrific every day because I am happy, healthy, and terrific.
And I agree with that. Anthony Williams said what he's really saying is many parents are being the friends of their children. You really don't need to be your child's friend. And sometimes when you are, some of what my little nephew Andrew said, it projects off into your children, the stuff that you were dealing with. And then we're wondering why we're seeing what we're seeing. I see that, and I definitely get what he's saying.
And like
Listen,
Dr. B said, the things that have not in the parents that have not been addressed.
Right.
Let
that's
me
back to
tell
the
you
home.
something. COVID-19 did something huge. It uncovered a lot of mental health.
Oh my God.
It uncovered a whole lot of stuff that had not been addressed in life. And so I think somebody posted it earlier about trust. That's the problem we have with the young people, the trust factor, because we as parents, as leaders, we got to be transparent. You know, we want to walk around like we was born with a halo and wings on our back. But we got not addressing the hey, we had our own situation we were dealing with as young people, and the reason why they don't trust us and talk to us because there's no authenticity. That's why they don't.
Absolutely.
They can. Let me tell you something. Young people can tell fake. They can tell fake coming in the door.
Reverend Ferguson, what say ye about these things?
Pastor James is right on top of it. They definitely can tell fake out the door. If it's not being given to them authentic and true, they're not going to listen to it. They're not going to respect it. They're not even, you could be talking to them and it's like talking to a brick wall. If we want to make that change, we got to come to them. Hey, I was in your shoes. I was the same glad little kid, like you were. But here's how we make the difference, and here's how we can rectify it. Talking to them, as Dr. B said, we got to have those conversations. We got to find time to make those conversations.
Listen, I'm going to wrap it up, and it's a loaded gun, and it's so much to cover, and we can't get it all in one night and 1 hour. But what I want to do, I'm going to do a part 2 on this because it's so much more that needs to come to the light of day. I want those that in a community of faith here on the panel and to reach out to me that are listening. If you have any programs for young people that's going to go past the summer, if there's something going on in your church that you can extend that would be a help to young people, let me know about it. And we're going to talk specifically solutions on the part 2, because we know what the problems are. We've addressed it. It's in the home, it's from the parents. Sometimes it's the outside forces, and Pastor Jones is such a progressive minister. He speaks way ahead of his time. And there are forces that do influence young people, right? With this thing right here, that phone. And that plays into how they react. Music, video games, and the like can influence a lot. Tyra said, if you can't trust at home, they'll trust you. They're going to find it someplace. So I want the part 2 to be solution-based only, because we know what the problems are. They're great. And the problems are right in our own backyard. I think we can get a handle on it if we collectively make aware these things that can help. I didn't want to be a victim. I told Pastor Jones, I didn't want to have this platform and talk about the problem and not try to be part of the solution. So that's why I invited you guys here to come and share with me. I think there was some great ideas that came across the table. There was some guests that were supposed to be with us tonight that weren't able to share due to some circumstances beyond their control. There's some people that I asked to get some young people. If there are any young people in here that are listening, if you will post in the comments tonight what you think would help deter this kind of behavior and have our young people, our youth of the city of Chicago, have some positive outlets that these kinds of things can be reduced. We may not be able to stop it, but at least if we can reduce it. I welcome any young person to post in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. I'm going to get in the comments. My team is going to get in the comments. Share with us what you think. That's why I had Amani on here. That's why I had Reverend Ferguson on here. They're a few days younger than most of us, and we wanted to hear what their perspective was. I want to thank the team that really worked behind the scenes to make this successful tonight. Pastor Jones, I certainly thank you for being a part of this, taking time out your busy schedule. Reverend Funches all the way down in Freeport, I appreciate you. Bishop James, of course, my friend and brother. We work together here at this station. And Amani, she works with the station. Dr. B is my ride or die. And I thank you guys for being a part of this, because these are our young people. This is our city. Yes. And if something does not happen, the law enforcement is going to deal with them in a different way in a minute if these kinds of behaviors continue. And then we're going to have another problem. You
Yes.
know, I feel the passion of our new mayor that is trying to be, deal with this in steps and stages. He's just walked into a litany of issues on his list, but this is huge right here. And I put my head down when I see those news clippings and everything like that. I'm like, man, those are our young people. That's a representation of us. In closing, I'm going to give everyone a moment to share something in closing. I want to start with Dr. No, let's start with Pastor James. In closing, what can you share that might be a source of encouragement to somebody that is dealing with a child that was out there?
I saw somebody post in the comments earlier, and I think it might have been Elder Antonio Hunt. Above all that we face, above all that we do, we all know what the remedy is, and no matter what we face, prayer still works. Prayer still works. We got to continue to pray and that ask that God would give us the whereabouts and the resources to be able to reach our children, to reach these young people, and days that that face them, that God will cover them, and keep them, and most of all, pray for their minds. I think that's huge. Pray for their mind. I'm confused by the thought process of what goes through their minds, and then we, as a people, as the faith-based community, I think what Pastor Funches says earlier, we got to check ourselves at the front door. Our church affirmation we read every week from Second Chronicles: "If my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves," we got to humble ourselves and pray. Got to get back to real authentic prayer and seek His face. And then we got some ways. Pastor Funches talked about Dr. Matt King Carter and Pastor Funches. I experienced that. I love that. Dr. Carter said, if you're gonna preach, you got to have the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other one.
That's right.
He said you can't out preach your life. And so that text says, and humble yourself, seek my face, turn from your wicked ways. He said, then I'll hear from heaven. Then I'll forgive your sins, and then I'll heal your land. So I think we got to get back to that, man, and get back to our true, authentic self to talk to these young people, to engage them, and then that's where the trust will come in.
Before we go on to the next, I want to read what First Lady Creola Jones said. She said, we need to find ways to encourage them to come to organizations that can help them because they may not come to us so easily. I certainly agree with that.
That is true.
In closing, Pastor Funches, can you share something in closing on tonight?
You're muted, yeah.
You're muted.
We have to make sure that when we bring them, when they come to us, that they come to us to give them something substantive. They just can't come to us and we give them junk. We gotta feed them something that they can come, that when they leave us, they'll want to come back and have something else. Church I grew up in, I use this as our theme pretty much here at the church that I pastor now, and I'll share it with you. I say this every Wednesday at our Bible study, and I say it every Sunday morning at the close of our Sunday school. It simply says this: I'm not everybody. I am one. I cannot do all things. I can do some. That I can do, the Lord expects me to do. So I want to say that's all that we can do is what the Lord expects us to do.
Thank you, Pastor Funches. Reverend Ferguson.
Like Pastor James said, we got to come with our authentic self. And as Pastor Johnson said, we are one people. We're one individuals. But we also must remember that for just as the body is one, it has many members. So we can network and we can talk to these children and we can get them involved. and find out ways that we can get them active. We got to come to where they are in the terms of, if social media is the way that they're uh, being utilized to go out and do these things that's mischievous and these things that are disruptive, how about we use the same platforms that they're utilizing to do that, to steer them in the right direction into something positive and to something that's constructive and that has discipline and order.
Thank you so much. Um, David Andrew Moses said, also, don't just come with solutions or responses. Sit, listen, cry with them if you have to. Be present in the moment instead of
Right.
rushing to solutions. Yeah, that
Yes.
you have to be a little bit more interactive and hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Amani, in closing, what will you share with our audience tonight regarding our topic? In closing.
Like giving advice or um uh I need to help with this.
It's okay.
Uh that's a good question. Uh
I'll tell you what, think about it, and I'm going to go to Dr. B.
okay.
What I find being in the educational system is that a lot of these young people don't have the love that they need in order to thrive or to strive. You know, we can't do it, but for your own children at home, even though you're going to give them the conversations, try embracing them and show them that you do care. Let them know that you are there. Let them know that you hear them. You're not just listening, but you got their backs. Whether you don't feel like it or not, someone had to sit with you. And if they didn't, I'm sorry, but get a way to reach the young people so that they can teach the other young people that this is the right way to go. We're doing this all wrong or backwards. Let's be the foundation for these children and these young people so that they can build a structure that's strong enough to carry them through this thing that we call life, because we're definitely lifing.
Absolutely. That you spoke my sentiments there, Dr. B. Uh, um, Amani, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Well, I just thought about something now. To have like a mentor they could talk to or go to a therapy or and parents to talk to their kids and to let them know like what's going on with them instead of just letting them walk around the house or outside, um, not knowing what they're doing and what to do, what not to do, and how to do it, and teaching them how to do it because that's what my mom did to me. Even though I have a disability, but I still like have a cognitive. I still don't understand some things, but she talks to me on how to do it repeatedly until before I go outside and tell me what to do, what not to do, how to say it, how not to say it, and that's all. I just need somebody to talk to, like a mentor or somebody older than them they can shadow and look up to, like my cousins. They're younger and they look up to me as a mentor, and they every time they come over they get excited about singing and want to draw instead of doing other things that's not bad, that's bad. They look up to me and get excited when I ask them if they want to draw or sing or make a song, do something just to be active and
I
not
totally
talk to
get it.
them.
Thank you so much, Imani. I wanted Pastor Jones to go last before we got ready to leave the airway. Pastor Jones, in closing, what can you share with us tonight?
Well, thank you. Just like to say that the same Bible that tells us about faith tells us about works. And it lets us know that either one of those things by themselves will not do well. Faith without works is dead. It's going to take our faith as well as our work to come out of this for our young people and for our families.
Absolutely. Karita Taylor said, um, great start. Clear that everyone here is concerned and wants to make a difference. Listen, we're still praying for the Taylor family.
Amen.
And we're lifting them up, and we know that God will carry them through this transition, and we are loving on them with the love of God right now. Listen, I want to read an announcement, and I want all the pastors that are in the building tonight to share with me and our audience there where times of service and location. But I want to make an announcement. Tomorrow night, meet me over at Greater Harvest Church. Tomorrow night, the man, the music, the ministry, the gathering of friends, honoring Dr. Ray Berry Hill. Tomorrow night here in the city of Chicago, Friday, August 25th, 6:30. We're going to be honoring Pastor Ray Berry Hill. Special guests, Resurrected Life Church, Quinny Lennox, Cosmopolitan Church of Prayer, Leanne Fane, GMAC, Amethyst, CQ, Destiny Worship and Praise Chorale. This will be a free event hosted by Elder DeAndre Patterson and Pam Morris. You can meet us over at Greater Harvest Church, 5141 South State Street in the city of Chicago. Host Pastor Reverend Eric Thomas. That take place tomorrow night. Now, I want to go around the room. We're going to start with Pastor Funches. If you're down in the Peoria area, is that Peoria? Freeport. Let's talk. Tell us your service times and location and everything.
We are located at 607 through 641 East Stevenson Street, Freeport, Illinois, 61032. Our service times is 11 a.m. is our worship time. Our Sunday school time is at 9:30, and our Bible study time is at 11 and 7 on Wednesdays. You can catch us on social media, YouTube at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, Freeport, Illinois. You can also catch us on Facebook on St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, Freeport. You can catch us on Instagram, St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, Freeport. Our Twitter handle, St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, Freeport. We try to keep up with everything and everybody on all of that. So we try to be a part. We're not too far from Rockford. We're about 25 minutes west of Rockford. If you've ever gone towards Galena, if you've ever gone towards Dubuque, Iowa, just hit Interstate 20 or Illinois 20, and you'll run right into us.
Thank you, Bishop James.
Yes, sir. New Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church of Chicago, 1850 West on Market Road. We're the church where we honor the past, embrace the present, and celebrate the future. The culture of our church is faith, family, and fellowship. And we're there at 11:30 a.m. every Sunday morning. Come with a table spread, and the feast of the Lord is going on.
Social media?
Social media is on New Mount Calvary Church Chicago on Facebook and on YouTube.
Dr. B, where we gonna find you at Sunday?
You will find me at G-Hub. That is the Greater House of Prayer located at 700 East 111th Street. That's in Chicago, Illinois. And my pastors are Reverend Galen W. Leverett and his amazing wife, Deborah Leverett. We start promptly at 12 o'clock. But listen, our Sunday school is the best Sunday school you will ever have in life. I guarantee you that. Be there at 9:30. And at 12 o'clock, that choir will open up and we will have a great time. Come on in, like the preacher said, with the table spread and the feast of the Lord is going on. I double dog dare you to come on up in there.
Amani, where you serving at on Sunday? Are you in church on Sunday morning?
Yes, I'm in church on Sunday morning. I go to New Life, Southeast Church, Pastor Hannah Church.
Okay, New Life is in the house. Now listen, this is where you're gonna find me. We get ready to talk about when you this is where you're gonna find me on Sunday morning. I'm going to let Pastor Jones talk about it, and him and Reverend Brandon Ferguson can go one-on-one. But this way you're gonna find me Sunday. Let's go with it.
All right, we're at the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church, 2978 South Wabash Avenue in Chicago. Services start on 9:30 on Sunday morning with our Sunday school, and we have 11 o'clock morning worship. And I'm going to let Brandon tell you about all of our social media stuff.
You can find us on social media at the Mount Carmel Social Media Network Ministry on Facebook and Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church Bronzeville on our YouTube page, Instagram, and Twitter and Local.
Listen, I want to thank the entire team behind the scenes that made a lot happen that you guys don't see. You know who you are. I'm going to thank you. I don't want to miss anybody, but there's a team of people that have really been beneficial in making this successful tonight. I love you and I thank you. Again, thanking the owners of WVTC, Chicago and Detroit. One of the owners is right here, Pastor William Quincy James, and Pastor Reverend Franklin Morris was on here. Sandy Rose, Detroit evangelist. And I just want to thank everybody for being a help tonight. Those that are in the comments, I want you all to get in the comments tonight and respond. And any young people, let us know if you're listening, you didn't want to say anything, go in the comments and tell us what you think is going to help. That's what we're trying to do. We're solution-based. We want to identify the problem, can't talk about them all. God bless you, Teresa. You know I love you, but we want to be solution-based, and we're going to do part 2 in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk strictly solutions in some of the programs that are out here, faith-based and otherwise, that can help our young people. These are our young people, right? Thank you, and God bless you for sharing with Ramon Perry, according to your faith, Dr. B, and I love you. There is a doctor.
I have an announcement.
Oh, come on through with it.
I have an announcement. Listen, you all, at 700 East 111th Street on this coming Saturday. Listen, y'all better listen to me. We have a choir all the way from the other side of the world, from Denmark, who's coming in to share with our choirs. So I need you guys to come on in. Be there at 6:30. It's going to kick off, and we're going to start on time. So come on in, be a special guest. You know, there are no tickets. Just come in, have a seat, and get your shout on. Be comfortable. It's dressed down. We in jeans and T-shirts. Come on in. It's T-shirts and tambourines. This Saturday, the day after tomorrow, 6:30. I need you to be in the seat. I'm going to be looking for you. And if you're not there, I'm going to come to you.
Oh, wait a minute. We wasn't going to forget about this. Let's talk about this. Reverend James, come on through here.
Well, Saturday. Let's start with Saturday. Well, first of all, this past Sunday, August the 20th, my pastor, Dr. Roosevelt Walker Jr., just came and just shut the house down. Again, kicked us off real good. This coming Saturday at 5 p.m., we're going to be in our 5th pastoral anniversary banquet, myself and my lovely wife, Reverend Janine James, at our church. Amen. And my friend and brother, Dr. Benjamin E. Davis, from the St. John Baptist Temples, will be our speaker. And then on Sunday morning, my BFF, my best friend, Dr. Corey Brackenridge of the United Faith Baptist Church of Rockville, Illinois, will be there. And if you have not heard Dr. Brackenridge, you are in for a treat. He's going to come and preach to you on Gileon, the good news of the gospel. Come on by and help us celebrate me and my wife 5 years of what the Lord has done. We have come this far. By faith.
By faith, yes.
Thank you, and God bless you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Meet us back here. And wait a minute. We got one last thing. Next Thursday is going to be a special edition of Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith. We're going to be featuring a new ministry that is going to be birthed out of this. Come on, Dr. B, I'm going to let you go on and talk about it, and then we're going to leave.
Ooh, you want me to talk about it?
Yes, go ahead through with it.
Listen, it's going to be a new ministry with me and evangelist Tanya Cuffey. We're going to bring in something new, something enlightening. We're going to talk about the women of the ages. So I need you guys to come on in and sit with us, because we have something new, something exciting, something fun. And our music is very befitting to the conversations that's going to go forth on next Thursday. We are excited, and we hope you enjoy it. Well, we know you're going to enjoy it.
Okay, meet us here next Thursday. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. We'll see you on next week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Have a great one.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ. WVTC Allsip Chicago, an iNetworks Communications station.
Dr.